Donald Trump's meeting with the whole European contingent, including Zelensky, has been a disaster. And I'll tell you why. Because Donald Trump has claimed here that the meeting went really well. He praised the entire European contingent of leaders, and he seemed to be very happy with the photo ops of this event in White House, where they all were seated opposite him across the table like school kids, or I think even schools have better seating facilities than White House these days. So he kind of enjoyed the whole photo ops. Trump loves the whole camera thing and attention. But at the end of the day, what was the outcome of these meetings? Nothing, because nothing was agreed upon. Probably one of the only thing that was agreed upon was a security guaranteed, and it's not difficult to guess that the security guarantee included arms sales to Ukraine. Uh, and the bill would be paid by Europe. So, but I'll come to that later. But the point here is that this meeting was a failure. It was decided that Zelensky and Putin will now meet next. Although, from the Russian side, the Russian spokesperson didn't confirm anything. The Russian spokesperson said that Yuri Ushakov from the Kremlin, he said that it was worthwhile to explore the possibility of raising the level of representatives from the Russian and Ukrainian delegations. So clearly, Russia is not really confirming that Putin will indeed meet with Zelensky. Okay, so there's no confirmation for that. And second thing, Donald Trump seems to be dreaming that first Putin and Zelensky will meet, then Donald Trump will join them in a trilateral meeting where he'll pose for a picture, where similar to Armenian, leader and the Azerbaijan leader, he did a photo ops last week, right? So he is imagining that he could do the same with Zelensky and Putin, and he could take a picture and brag about that and get his Nobel Peace Prize. So that is daydreaming. That kind of daydreaming and delusion is being harbored by Donald Trump right now, completely out of touch with reality, because he has these people. He has these, Macron, Ursula, Merz, Friedrich, Meloni, who are all like rallying around him, praising him and kind of mollycoddling him. So Trump feels that, yeah, I mean, he's being respected everywhere, but he's in a la la land, because his last meeting with Putin was a failure. There was no outcome of that meeting beyond the photo ops. And even this meeting has ended without any joint declaration or any kind of agreement. Now, another takeaway of this meeting was that Europeans are pushing back, because Donald Trump now is saying that there won't be any ceasefire. Okay, so if you remember the last round of negotiations, ceasefire was supposed to be a very big component of that. Now Donald Trump is saying that okay, there won't be any ceasefire. There could be a direct peace deal. Now this is another delusion. If you want to stop hostilities, first you need to have a ceasefire. So if two countries are not even willing to arrive at a ceasefire, then how come you expect them to sign a large peace deal? What is he smoking? And this is a point which German Chancellor Friedrich Merz highlighted. He said that, I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire. To be honest, it's weird. It's weird. Without ceasefire, I don't think what Donald Trump is imagining. So, if you see, this is a climb down, because last time Donald Trump, when he was negotiating with Putin, he was pushing for a ceasefire first before the larger peace deal. This time, Donald Trump is willing to let go of the ceasefire. So anybody who has done any kind of negotiation in life would know that this is a major climb down by the US president over here, no matter what he says. And the third takeaway here is that the security guarantees. Okay, now Trump did not say that there would be US boots on ground, but he did not rule it out. In fact, he threw away a possibility of boots on ground, if I'm not wrong, because this is what Donald Trump said. He said that Europe was the first line of defense, and we will be involved. We will give them good protection. Now, when you say we will be involved, will Donald Trump be involved with feet on ground or through supply of weapons to Ukraine? I think the latter one looks more likely right now, looking at the way things are. But yes, this was there. And Zelensky said that he would require security guarantee. And in fact, Zelensky said that in the news conference that the security guarantee would involve $90 billion, that is 67 billion euros, arms deal between US and Ukraine. And guess who's paying the bill? It's Europe. So Zelensky is announcing a possible defense deal, arms deal between US and Ukraine, where the bill would be paid by the Europeans. No, this is ridiculous. And he also said that Ukraine does not have aviation systems and anti-missile systems, so that is what he's going to buy. And there are some other things which he said he will not disclose. And in fact, what's surprising here is that Zelensky said that US would actually buy Ukrainian drones, which would help fund their domestic production of unmanned craft. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, Zelensky is talking about selling Ukrainian drones to United States now. On one hand, he's claiming that he's short of arms. He needs arms, and now he's saying that he's going to sell weapons to Donald Trump. Crazy. And Zelensky said that within the next 10 days, these security guarantees would be worked out. So when you say security guarantees, it is not just arms sales, right? It's about who's going to guard the border in case of a peace deal. So where does this whole arms sale suddenly come up with? Like, you're talking about security guarantees, and the whole conversation is revolving around arms sales over here. And Zelensky, this time, surprisingly, he wore a kind of, I wouldn't call it a suit, but it's kind of a semi-suit kind of thing. Certainly better and more respectful than last time what he wore in the Oval Office. So, and Zelensky this time said many times, he said thank yous. Like he said 6 times, he said thank you, thank you. That's what he said. So, this time Zelensky tries to woo, and I think this time the whole vibe between Donald Trump and Zelensky was a slightly more relaxed, and it looks like there's been some kind of consensus between Zelensky and Trump, or maybe Donald Trump is realizing that last time, even though Trump was successful in insulting Zelensky, but Trump didn't gain anything from Zelensky. Zelensky was actually the guy who had the last laugh, if I may use that line, because Zelensky didn't budge last time. Despite all the humiliation he got from Donald Trump last time, to give the guy credit, he didn't budge one bit, even after the drubbing he got at Oval Office. Zelensky, I mean, I'm not a fan of Zelensky, but I'm just saying that, to give him credit to that. And this time he's trying to woo the First Lady Melania Trump. Like he said that he has a letter from his wife Olena to Melania. So I think there's slight personal touch he's trying to show this time. So that's definitely something that he's doing this time. So Donald Trump has failed in the Putin meeting. Donald Trump has failed again in this meeting. Beyond the photo ops, what has he managed to gain over here? Sure, I mean, bullying smaller countries like Azerbaijan, Armenia, and rallying and bringing them together for photo ops is one thing, but bringing Putin and Zelensky is a completely different ball game. And on the other side, in Asia, there's a lot of activity going on. It's unbelievable. I mean, we have never seen this level of action in Asia right now. We are seeing visits of Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval to Russia twice in the last 1 month. Indian Foreign Minister making trips to Russia, China, Chinese foreign minister visiting India, meeting Indian Prime Minister, and there's a lot of activity going on between India, Russia, and China. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to attend SEO summit in China in a matter of few weeks, and Vladimir Putin is going to visit India in a matter of a month or so. So there's a lot of activity going on in Asia, and particularly when in the case of India, Donald Trump has announced this whole 25 plus 25% tariffs on India, but conveniently he has excluded electronics, pharmaceuticals, and the whole service industry out of these tariffs. So how is this tariff going to affect India? Well, I mean, there's a little bit of diamond trade that India does, apparel that India exports to United States. So the diamond and apparel sector could be impacted, but then it hardly in India. I mean, it's like 1.8% of India's GDP will be impacted through tariffs on exports, if at all tomorrow US even decides to tariff the hell out of India. So because India is not really an export economy, India exports contribute very very little to India's overall GDP. So, and even within that, Donald Trump is excluding the service industry, he's excluding electronics. I'm just getting a report that iPhone 17 is going to be manufactured in India, all iPhone 17 models. Okay, can you imagine? uh, you know Tim Cook met Donald Trump in White House, and he gifted Donald Trump, uh, uh, I think, a golden object, a golden souvenir or something, and Donald Trump was really happy. So it seems that there's been some kind of understanding between Apple and Donald Trump that has been reached, whereby Apple is being allowed to manufacture all its iPhone and the entire iPhone 17 lineup from India. Can you imagine? On one hand, Donald Trump is applying 50% tariff. On other hand, he's allowing Apple to manufacture almost 100% of iPhone 17 from India, not even China. So this is where Donald Trump is deceiving a lot of people. He is clearly doing something to show it to the world, but on the other hand, this is what is happening. And the second thing is that some stupid comments are being made by Scott Bessent. He says that China buying Russian oil is okay, but India buying Russian oil is not okay because India has apparently multiplied its oil purchases. Because see, the thing is that it's really absurd, because United States today uh, has increased its Russian trade by 20 to 30%. This is officially announced by United States representatives, and even Putin told about that in the press interaction, or I wouldn't call it an interaction, but the press note that he had. On one hand, United States is buying billions of dollars worth chemicals, uranium, and products from Russia. On one hand, Russia is the biggest supplier of gas to Europe. 37% of European gas comes from Russia, and uh, almost entire aviation fuel of Europe comes from India, which is basically refining the Russian crude and supplying to Europe. And I'm not even talking about all the deals that China is doing with Russia. So, with all of these things happening, Scott Besson saying that India is funding Russian war is just stupid. It's just plain stupid, and it's dumb. And we are seeing these articles from CNN, BBC, where somewhere India's all of a sudden, India was nowhere in picture for the last 3.5 years in this conflict, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, India is funding this war. I mean, stop buying Russian gas in Europe and then lecture India. Stop buying Russian fertilizers, uranium yourself first, and then lecture India. Stop buying Russian refined oil uh, into US. Yes, India has exported more than $2 billion worth of petroleum products to United States. Yes, you can go and check online. It's out there. India is basically refining Russian crude and supplying to United States, and United States is buying. And on the other hand, Scott Bessent and some of the other people like Lindsey Graham and some of the stupid people, they're saying that, oh, okay, India's funding the Russian war. So, anyways, this is a completely different story. What I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of action in Asia, and what Donald Trump has done here is that he is pushing India and China together. And the biggest mistake, in my opinion, that he has done in Asia is to align with a military dictatorship like Pakistan, especially when United States has always stood up for democracy, and it has done regime changes in the name of democracy. It still does that, and it has at least showed that it cares about democracy. Looking at all the deep state written reports. And on the other hand, we are seeing this hypocrisy from United States, where it's partnering, where has Donald Trump's family has actually signed a cryptocurrency deal with World Liberty Financial. Is 40% owned by Donald Trump's family. And if you are in the United States, you can do a Google search and find out for yourself. 40% stake of Donald Trump's family is with World Liberty Financial, and he has done a deal with Pakistan, a military dictatorship, in the middle of a conflict between India and Pakistan. So you can imagine which way Donald Trump is going and what his morals are right now in the world. But anyways, let's not talk about morality over here. It's not like even India or China is doing some social service. But the point here is that Donald Trump has not achieved anything because things are getting costly in United States. As according to today's report, basically Chinese students and Indian students in United States have dropped by 30 to 40%, and it is estimated that US Ivy League universities will lose out on billions of dollars because of this. Sure, if you don't want to give H1B visa, don't give that. Like, there are hardly 67,000 H1B visas which are given every year. Don't give that. Absolutely fine. But to restrict thousands of students who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars into the US economy is economic suicide, which Donald Trump is doing. And to tariff countries by importing inflation, because who pays for the tariff? It's the American consumer that pays for tariff. To do that is self-sabotage, which United States is doing right now. And what I'm surprised here is that I'm not seeing too many Democrats talking against this. Yes, of course, I do see like some Democrats talking about it, but overall, I mean, you don't see the real anger coming out from the Dems. So this gives me an indication that probably the deep state has some kind of arrangement with Democrats and Republicans, because Hunter Biden we've heard about what all things he has done with China, the shady deals with China, right? And Hunter Biden's shady deals with China, Epstein files, and now Trump's family's shady deal with military dictatorship of Pakistan, uh, indicates us that there is some kind of understanding between the deep state and the Republicans and Democrats both. So United States is heading into a territory where it has never ever been. Things are happening very openly as we speak, and maybe you could write in the comments and let me know what you think about it. Is Donald Trump doing the right thing right now, and will Putin accept the peace deal now? I doubt. I don't think there would be any peace deal anytime soon between Zelensky and Putin. Do write in the comment and let me know. See you in the next video. This is Girish signing off from the Macro Story.